When you think of Washington, D.C., you think politics, influence, and opposing voices. Well, on today's episode of Studio 901, we'll show you the softer side of the high-powered town, complete with a love story, sounds of jazz, and an R&B sensation sure to be one to watch. This is Studio 901. Hi there, and welcome to Studio 901. I'm your host, Trinice Bishop. On today's episode, an R&B sensation sure to be one to watch. We'll gaze into a tiny jazz venue with a big mission, and we'll show you what the Harlem Globetrotters have to do with love. You know, most people come to Washington and get famous on their political gains, but with a rich musical heritage, from acts like Duke Ellington to Chuck Brown, D.C. is rarely recognized for its musical culture. Well, there's one determined D.C. native who's opened for acts like Maxwell, collaborated with Neo, and placed #1 on Billboard. Kevin Ross is looking to take his spot in D.C.'s musical empire. I had the chance to meet him and learn about his journey from local beginnings to the national musical stage. Well, welcome home, I should say, and congratulations. Absolutely. So yesterday was a huge day for you. Yes. First major album release on the Motown label.
Yes, The Awakening came out yesterday. I'm really, really blessed for the platform, and I was so glad to be back home in my hometown to celebrate with family and friends and associates and colleagues. So it's amazing.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about, now I know that you're from here, from the DC area.
Yes.
You went to Duke Ellington.
Yes.
How did that kind of start the foundation for you to continue to hear?
I mean, the key word, foundation. I think that with a lot of the teachers that were there, they helped to mold us, to guide us, to encourage us and uplift us in a way that some of us may not have been getting from home. Some of us may not have been getting as far as within the community. And so I think that Duke Ellington School of the Arts allowed for us to have a platform to express ourselves in a way that I don't think our community could, facilitate our abilities. And so I felt like that was a very necessary step to my discovering who I wanted to be. I realized that I wanted to sing for a living there at Duke Ellington School of the Arts my sophomore year.
Okay, so you had no idea before then?
I knew I liked to sing, and I knew that it could be a hobby, but I didn't think that it could be something
lucrative
that I could do, for the rest of my life, or that I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
But I hear that some of your family have musical influences also from your family, your dad's side of the family.
Yeah, my dad's side of the family. My dad is a singer. So, when he was doing events around the city, I was just his shadow. And so I would watch and just observe and take in as much information and as much riffs and things like that I possibly could. So.
And so were you also introduced to the piano at Duke Ellington?
No, that was Berklee College of Music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after high school,
later,
you went to Berklee, another amazing music program out of Boston. How did that kind of shape the rest of your career in terms of moving from, singing, but also to songwriting?
Yeah. I think that was the key. When I was 16 years old, I got a 16-track Yamaha recorder.
Okay.
And so my fascination was with harmony, with stacking as many of my vocals as I possibly could. I had a Yamaha keyboard that actually hooked up to the Yamaha 16-track recorder, and I started to, create these tracks and make songs to it. So it just was a natural progression for me. I think I had a natural knack of writing songs just because I was listening to so much growing up with the Quiet Storm format and all of the great songs that were on there. So I think instinctively that was a part of my desire as well.
The Quiet Storm right here at WHUR, HU, my alma mater.
Oh, word.
Absolutely.
The real HU.
A bison for life. You got it. So, okay, out of Berklee, what was the next step? You leave college and then what?
Graduated and I moved down to Atlanta. to start writing. And so within my first year, I landed a placement with Jamie Foxx, which was awesome. And then during the interim of time, as far as between Jamie Foxx and me signing to Motown Records, I did a lot of like odd-end jobs to kind of just keep the lights on.
Oh, I know all about that.
Yeah.
I know all about that.
It was definitely a hustle. It was a struggle. And I had to, find the victory within the valley. Within that dark, dismal place, I had to continue to be optimistic. And a lot of that came from my family. A lot of that came from just encouragement, because there wasn't too many people that was asking the question, what if this doesn't work out? And so I appreciated that. So that motivated me to keep going. And once I got signed to Motown Records, that was back in 2012, I believe. Yes.
So what was that day like?
At that point, it was very surreal, and I was excited, and it was just like, it was awesome.
How old were you then?
I was 24.
Okay, barely. Well, you legal.
23.
23, all right.
Something like that.
Fresh out of college, signed to Motown.
Had no idea what I was getting myself into, to be honest. The only thing at that point that I knew how to do was I knew I could sing and I knew I could write songs.
All right. So, first album out yesterday.
Yes.
We're 24 hours in.
Yes.
Have you gotten any feedback?
Yes. Great reviews. I think that since the Awakening has been in development for so many years, and you've been listening to these songs for so long, you don't know how the public is going to respond. You don't know how they're going to take, this initial release. And so it's been very, very positive reviews from editorials and blog sites, from actual listeners and audience and fans. So I'm really, really grateful.
Well, I have to say I love Long Song Away.
Thank you.
And I read that you said the song was about the practice of patience.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And just what you said before about kind of learning how to live in the valley to get to the victory.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit more about that and how that inspired the writing of that song.
Well, practice of patience for Long Song Away, I think that the whole process of Long Song Away was a practice of patience, like creating the song. That was my first time playing guitar on a record.
Okay.
And so playing that and really like etching that out, but just the process of conceptually, dealing with the personal experience of, we live in an instantaneous society, right? And so we see Instagram, we see Twitter, we see all of these social media platforms that it encourages us to obtain things right then and there.
Right, that instant gratification.
So people kind of relate that to love. Well, the women that I was meeting back then was relating that to love. And so I needed a song that could articulate how I felt, but not in such an aggressive manner. I needed something to be smoothed out and to let them know, listen, if this is an analogy, just let the record play out. If it was a song, you gotta let the record play to see where we end up, to see how this thing goes. And so that was kind of the creation of Long Song Away.
Okay. So tell me what you listen to right now. What are your top 3 artists that you have in heavy rotation?
Anderson .Paak. I listen to a lot of like retro 70s stuff.
Retro 70s.
Yeah.
I think I'm an old soul too.
Yeah.
I'm really like 67.
Yeah.
So I like to listen to a lot of old music. I actually listened to your cover of Donny Hathaway.
Yeah, song for you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Strong voice, but you brought your own kind of flavor to it.
Yeah. I
And
felt like that was necessary because, the song was written by Leon Russell. And so when Donnie covered it, he killed it and he made it his own. And I just felt like that song was so beautiful that I didn't want it to be lost in translation as far as with time.
Right.
Just the caliber of artist that Donny Hathaway is can be lost in time just because of where we're at generational wise. And so it was recommended to me by a couple of people that I should cover the song. And it took me a while to actually cover it because I was scared of it. But
it's intimidating. Donny Hathaway and the strength of his voice, certainly.
Yeah, and he's one of a kind. But for me, it was about creating my own version to reflect my individuality on it, my musicality on it as well, while still respecting the craft and the beauty of the song within itself, to keep the integrity still intact.
So outside of Hathaway, because I would say he would be an influencer or someone that you appreciate, what other artists from decades past would you think that you try to mirror your image or your sound, or maybe even taken some influence from?
Stevie Wonder, Marvin
Another
Gaye.
a Motown, great.
Stevie, Marvin, Joni Mitchell, Patrice Rushen, Norman Connors, let's see, Leon Ware. Maxwell,
Okay.
Neo, Babyface, Lionel Richie, different artists and creatives like that, that really, hit my soul.
So we have tour dates coming up. Where can we see you?
We're working on that as far as, I think I'm going to start my own headline tour.
Okay.
So that's going to be really fun.
We can look for that soon.
Look for that pretty soon.
Okay.
And just more music on the way to make sure people enjoy the awakening, but also just working on new projects, working on more collaborations, whether that's, within my hometown or, abroad or across the pond somewhere.
Across the pond, all right.
Yeah, so you never know.
Worldwide. Are there any artists in the D.C. area that you would want to work with, that you might want to do some projects with?
Yeah.
I mean, not to put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. Gold Link, I think, is super dope. I definitely want to do a collaboration with Gold Link. I have a collaboration with Chaz French already.
Okay.
I want to link back up with Phil Ade. I want to actually record with Wale as well. And just anybody else that's up and coming that I feel like we can mesh together and make great music and, figure out business. I absolutely want to collaborate with Raheem Devon as well, whether that's in music or whether that's just in business, within itself. I think he's built a great empire and has definitely returned his blood, sweat, and tears back to the community. So,
Absolutely. So how long are you in the area for?
A couple days.
Yeah. And then off to promote?
I'm off to promote again. I'm on a promo run until April 15th. Yes.
April 15th. Okay,
yeah,
all
as far
right.
as I know right now.
Absolutely. So what's next? I mean, what's the next single we might hear off The Awakening? Any ideas about that?
Oh, yeah. It's called Don't Go.
Don't Go?
Don't Go, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yes.
And certainly look forward to hearing and seeing you more.
Yes.
And the next time you come to D.C., I'm sure folks will be ready and rearing for more Kevin Ross.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
In addition to being a rising solo artist, Kevin Ross has also written songs for Johnny Gill, Trey Songz, and SWV. Also, he's produced and performed in a national commercial. Later in the show, you get to watch him perform his #1 single, Long Song Away. Stick around, more Studio 901. We'll be back after this.
Oh, my mom. She's everything.
I wish we had restaurants and music and community.
Welcome back to Studio 901. I'm your host, Trinice Bishop. Jazz may have been born in New Orleans, but jazz legends like Shirley Horn and Billy Taylor started their journey to jazz right here in the D.C. area. And thanks to Alice's Jazz and Cultural Society, the musical expression has a home in a cozy yet intimate venue in the Brookland neighborhood.
My name is DeAndre Howard. This is Alice's Jazz and Cultural Society, nicknamed Ajax. Come on in. When I got here, the whole building was just a mess. It was just one big room, no ceiling, holes falling down from the ceiling. When I said we need a name, Akia Quanda Jordan lived around the corner. I was sitting on the front before we opened. She said Jazz and Cultural Society. And so we had that. And when I told Alice after we opened up, I said, we want your name on top. I don't want my name on top. So, after we'd been open over a year, then I had, her brother make the sign Alice Jazz and went out front. People want to hear music without having to be tempted by drinks. And then we get a lot of folks in here who don't drink, people who are AA, and they can come in without being tempted by somebody drinking booze around them. So that's what we wanted. is the spot. That's Applejack over there on the door, collecting the entry fee. Then you got let's walk back this way. The group tonight is Deep Water Coonga, man. With these bad coongas. Let's walk a little further on down here. As you see, the people are coming in to hear the music, and Terry Cougar on the saxophone. And the rest of the cats. Y'all say meow. Well, we were on vacation, you know, Alice, brother, and myself up at Martha's Vineyard, sitting around the table. She said we want to put a mirror on the front after I had finished the front. So she said, well, you pick the people. I said, well, let's get DC jazz artists. Buck Hill, he just passed. You know, he was 90, I think, but he was a postal worker, played with all the big boys, and he died. Then, of course, Shirley Horn from DC. Then you have Bill Harris here. He had the Bigfoot down on Rhode Island Avenue, down the street from Mr. Wise. And of course, Duke Ellington. Then you had Billie Holiday. You know, she's not from DC, but she's been a lot of time here. But then the great Ronnie Wells over here. Billy Strayhorn was the guy who co-wrote it and wrote Satin Doll, you know, stuff like that for Duke Ellington. Then of course, the great Keita Betts. It's a dream come true for Dr. Alice and myself. We're leaving a legacy. It's really something to leave a legacy in your own hometown. And I didn't set out to do that. What more can you ask for?
A visit to Alice's Jazz and Cultural Society gives you a front row seat to the cool mystique of America's classic art form. For more information on Alice's Jazz and Cultural Society, visit jazzandculturalsociety.com. Now don't go away. You don't want to miss a soulful performance from R&B's Kevin Ross. We'll be back with that and more coming up on Studio 901.
Sick. I'm done. Last week, my math class got canceled because my professor, Dr. Muhammad, was held at the airport because of this ban. And the other day, me and my boy were pulled over by the police for no reason. One of your most important rights in the Constitution is the First Amendment, which allows us to express ourselves freely. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to assemble, freedom to petition the government to correct grievances. The government shouldn't be allowed to deny us these freedoms.
That's why I'm here. I have a daughter. It's important that Asha knows that I'm doing this for her and her future. That I didn't sit this one out. Let's go make a difference.
I know my rights. Do you know yours?
Okay, so imagine this. You're new to a city and you really want to take in a Harlem Globetrotters game, but you don't know anyone. So what do? Well, if you're Dolores Harris, you make friends, go on a first date, and then 55 years later, surprise your husband with a visit from the team. Check out this love story that's sure to be an alley-oop straight to your heart.
I met my husband through his niece back in 1962. I had just come to DC and didn't know anybody. After the day we met, he asked his niece if he could call me. And so when she asked, I said, oh, why not? Because I didn't know anybody in DC. So to get a call from somebody was better than nobody.
Oh, yeah.
I heard about the Globetrotters coming to town. So I mentioned it, and he seemed like he would be interested in seeing the Globetrotters, so I thought that was great because I really didn't want to go by myself. But this was in August, and they weren't coming till December. When I asked him, he said sure, he still was going to take me, so I thought that was great because that was a long time in between. As far as our first date, he was really nice. He had manners, he opened the door, and he just did all the right things, and he was dressed so sharp. It was a casual, but his slacks were so nice, and his shoes all polished and shine. And I just thought this was really, really nice, but still not thinking anything other than, I'm going to see the Globetrotters. When I heard the Globetrotters were coming this year, I thought, oh my goodness, I have a TV show. I would love to interview the Globetrotters. All of a sudden, one day, I got a telephone call, and Eric said, we really liked your story. He said, did you tell your husband yet? And I said, no. And he said, oh, well, we would like to surprise your husband. I didn't sound very enthused over the phone, so right after I hung up, I texted the person and told them the reason I didn't sound too excited, my husband was sitting right next to me. But we were able to really surprise him. He had no clue. He didn't get a chance to figure it all out until it actually happened. So it was a great surprise for him. I would categorize it as 1 in a million. Thank you to the Harlem Globetrotters. Keep on doing what you're doing, but you've made my husband and I extremely happy.
What an amazing love story. This one's filled with memories that gives love and basketball a whole new meaning. Special thank you to the Harlem Globetrotters for the assist in this slam dunk in romance. We'll be back with more Studio 901 right after this.
I've always wanted my own cooking show. I'm talented, passionate, and I'm a great cook. That's good. And then I heard about DCTV. Did you know they have producers, studios, and even editing? They had everything I need, plus what I needed the most, support.
DCTV can support your production ideas as well.
Become a DCTV member like I did. It's really a dream come true.
Visit DCTV.org to become a member. Get online and get in the network. Get DCTV.
Clearly, I'm no Beethoven, and good thing for you, I'm not gearing up for my own solo career as a pianist. But great thing for you is that I did have a chance to catch up with someone who's rather impressive on the keys. That's right, still talking about Kevin Ross, DC's own. And you get to enjoy an acoustic performance of his #1 hit single, Long Song Away. As always, I'm your host of Studio 901, Trinice Bishop, and we hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed putting it together for you. Join us again for another episode of Studio 901.
Always got somewhere to go. Oh. You see, your life is filled with a fun. Oh. It's not a race when it comes to love. Unless it's me that you run from. No, 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 no. City girls want it all, but they never can wait, not so fast. You could lose control. I know we live in the now, but we can set our own pace. Take my hand, and we can slow dance to the radio. 'Cause forever's alone. Said it's a long song away. 'Cause forever's alone. It's a long song away. So won't you please, please let the record play. Just let the record play, yeah. See, you think that life's gonna pass you by. Said it's gonna pass you by. And you fear that there's just not enough time. Why would you stress something that's out of your control? Close your eyes and dream will never grow. City girls want it all, but they never can wait, not so fast. You could lose control. I know we live in the now, but we can set our own pace. Take my hand, and we can slow dance to the radio. Yeah. 'Cause forever's alone. Said it's a long song away. Oh, 'cause forever's alone. It's a long song away. So won't you please, please let the record play. Just let the record play. Oh, don't turn that dial. Be patient with love. Yeah. So let's keep this in conversation. Never let it fade. Never let it go. 'Cause forever's alone. Said it's a long song away. Forever's alone. Said it's a long song away. So won't you please, please let the record play. Just let the record play, yeah.
For more information on Kevin Ross, visit kevinrossmusic.net.
For more information on programming and local listings, visit us at dctv.org. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.